As a work from home slash stay at home mom, I find it very easy to accidentally isolate myself, kind of pigeonhole myself in the house. So in an effort to keep that from happening and stay connected to actual real people, in my community and in my life, I try to ask friends, to run and grab coffee or to grab breakfast after school drop off. A couple weeks back, I was out with a few mom friends. We went to lunch at Cava, which I love. It's one of my favorite kind of quick service places. But my total for my lunch was $17. And that was without a drink. I just drink water. And while that is a nice special treat to enjoy with my friends every once in a while, it is not something that I could sustain Monday through Friday every week. I'm gonna share with you some of the meals that I have prepped for my husband and myself to have at home, especially at lunchtime or during the day. These are things that I was able to make several servings of all at once and then just store until we were ready to eat them across the week. So even if you work outside the home, I think this video could be super helpful to you. Thrive Market is sponsoring. Let's dive into it. This is actually a little bit more than a pound of ground turkey. This is probably close to a pound and a half. It comes in like 19-ounce packages from Aldi, and I actually picked this one up at Target and I used about half the package for a different meal, and now I'm going to use the rest of it. So I think it's just up to you how much protein you want in each of your servings. Sometimes if I'm using very lean turkey, and this is 93.7, I would add just a smidge of like olive oil or avocado oil when I'm browning it up, but this recipe has 4 tablespoons of butter that we're gonna add in a little bit. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cook it up without adding anything to it. We will get this cooked through and then we'll move on to the next step. Now, the original recipe that inspired me to make this has you use fresh cauliflower that you dice up and you saute it in a pan for a few minutes and set it aside before you do all the stuff that I just did. I just think this is easier. So I'm gonna use some already riced cauliflower. I'm gonna put this in the microwave for just a couple minutes so it's not totally frozen when I throw it into my pan with the rest of the ingredients. My turkey looks to be cooked through. So now I'm gonna add 4 tablespoons of butter and 4 or 5 cloves, or about 1.5 tablespoons of minced garlic. And I just want to stir that around to get the butter melted and let the garlic kind of get fragrant and saute just a little bit in that butter and whatever the turkey rendered. Seasonings. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and I'm also going to put in about 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon or some kind of broth base, a pinch of red pepper flake, and then about 1/2 cup of water. I don't want to add too much water to this because my cauliflower is probably going to render a little bit of water and moisture as it cooks along with the meat here. Salt and pepper to taste. In goes my cauliflower, and I let this thaw. I put it in the microwave for just about 2 minutes so it wouldn't be ice cold and bring the heat of my pan down really quickly. Once I have this all stirred together, I'm going to put the lid on and turn the heat down to low. And I'm gonna let it simmer and heat through for probably about 4 to 5 minutes just to let all of those flavors mingle and make sure that the cauliflower, the riced cauliflower, gets cooked or steamed through. Now, I am not an expert, but I think this recipe is pretty low carb as is because there's no starches in it so far. No rice or pasta or potatoes or anything like that. This has been cooking all together for about 5 minutes. And to finish it off, I'm gonna add just about 1/4 cup of this grated Parmesan cheese and stir that in. I'll pop the lid back on and let that cook for another couple minutes, and then it'll be ready to dish up. In my humble opinion, this left just a little something to be desired for me and my husband, so I whipped up a little copycat cane sauce. I make that from mayo, ketchup, Worcestershire, a little garlic powder, and Cajun seasoning, salt and pepper, and I just put some of that over the top. We're both home today, so I went ahead and just made this for us for lunch, and then I have 2 other helpings for us to put in the refrigerator to have on another day. So this made 4 servings, pretty generous servings. You can bulk it up with some crackers, with some rice, with some bread. There's lots of ways you could bulk this up. Add some veggies, add some fruit. That's what I did. I put some raspberries for our meals that we're gonna have tomorrow because we'll probably just have like an apple or banana here. Okay, I'm so glad I decided to add the sauce. It's actually really flavorful. I was worried that this wouldn't be super flavorful, but it's got 4 tablespoons of butter in it, So the richness of the butter, I think, kind of adds a lot to it. But that sauce really takes it up a notch. You could do like a Cajun ranch or a Cajun remoulade. I don't know, it just felt right to me. And I'm so glad I did it because it tastes amazing. We aren't necessarily eating like low carb or keto. We do try to get a decent amount of protein and a decent amount of fruits and vegetables, and we still eat starches some. What I will do sometimes with a dish like this is use half and half cauliflower rice and regular rice. So maybe I make it just like it is and I add like a little scoop of rice that I've cooked up on the stove, or maybe I open up like one of these packages from Thrive Market of the already cooked rice and just put a little bit in each bowl, in each dish, if I want to have a little bit of like carbohydrate with it. Thrive Market is sponsoring today's video. They've been a long time supporter of my channel, and I've been a Thrive Market member for about 5 years now. And let me tell you, it has really come in handy the last few months as my husband is adjusting his eating preferences to a more anti-inflammatory style, because Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store, and they offer thousands of natural and organic products on their website that are typically priced below the traditional grocery store. And you can sort the products on their website according to your dietary preference or lifestyle, which has really helped me discover some things for my husband. But usually I also check the deals page when I'm ordering from Thrive Market, and in fact, I found some great deals on items that my family likes that I purchase all the time from Thrive Market. Like this popcorn, which is a big favorite of everybody in the family, including my husband. We don't care that summer's coming to a close and it's not popsicle season anymore. It is popsicle season all year long around here, especially with kids who play sports and are in marching band. They love to have these after their practices. A favorite of the kids, a favorite of my husband's, maybe a little something for mom, plus several other items that are repeat purchases for us because they become favorites to stock our pantry with different snacks and also some items that I use all the time in my recipes. I just checked my Thrive Market app and it's telling me that I saved over $60 on this order compared to traditional retail prices. So essentially I've covered the cost of my annual membership with just one order. I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Thrive Market deals page if you are a member. And if you're not a member, we got a deal for you today. Thrive Market has a new offer for new members. When you follow the link in the description box below, or you go to thrivemarket.com/cmindymom60, you can get $20 off your first 3 Thrive Market boxes plus a free gift worth up to $60. Again, that's $20 off your first 3 Thrive Market boxes plus a free gift when you follow the link in the description box below, or you go to thrivemarket.com/cmindymom60. Thank you again to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it. That's so good. It has finally cooled off. We woke up this morning to temperatures in the 40s and the high is only in the 60s. So I'm actually going to whip up a big pot of soup for lunch, and then I'm gonna divvy up the leftovers into containers so that I can reheat it the next few days for lunch. The inspiration is coming from Food Love and Family. I will leave a link in the description box below to the original recipe, but I wanna talk through some substitutions I'm gonna make. I have some onions and garlic. I'm gonna mince that up, and then salt and pepper, and I almost forgot the Italian seasoning. But instead of regular sausage, I'm gonna use some of this chicken sausage that I picked up at Sprouts. I stocked up on this while it was on sale. This is much leaner than a standard sausage. I've got some fire roasted tomatoes and some Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna grate up half a cup of that. And instead of using regular cream cheese like it calls for, I'm gonna use some of this Greek cream cheese. It's a little bit lighter and also has a little bit more protein than just a standard cream cheese, and my Walmart actually carries this, so I pick it up when I see it. It calls for 4 cups of chicken broth, and I'm gonna use 4 cups of water and then just 2 sticks of this bone broth because that's what I have left. This also calls for a small pasta, like a ditalini or a small shell, and I don't have any on hand. I do have some of this protein pasta from Brahmi, so I'm just gonna use this. I need 8 ounces, which is about 2 cups dry. Sometimes what I'll do is put this in like a plastic bag, like a Ziploc bag, and take the rolling pin to it and just give it a few whacks with the rolling pin, and it'll kind of break up the pastas into smaller pieces. so we might do that. And the original recipe calls for fresh basil. I don't have any, but I'm actually gonna throw in some of this baby spinach at the end as well. When I do get out of the house for lunch, one of the places that I will go to often is Panera, because it's a place where I can do a little work while I eat. I can take my computer and work. And also I have a Sip Club membership, so I know that I've already paid for my coffee or my fountain drink. And I usually just do a pick two, you know, like a half sandwich and a cup of soup. I usually get the chicken and wild rice or the broccoli cheddar, and then a half bacon turkey bravo. And that comes out to over $12 just for that one lunch. And again, it's nice to have as a treat. It's something that we budget for. It actually comes out of a different part of our budget we call recreation. Eating out and things like that don't come out of our regular grocery budget. But again, it's just not something that I can do every day or that I want to do every day, because I wouldn't want to be spending, you know, $60 a week on lunch. And I can actually make a pot of soup like this for around the same price as that one lunch. I mean, basically it's going to cost me around the same price to make 5 servings of this soup as it would for me just to have one lunch at Panera. And that's even with the additional cost of substituting some of the ingredients for higher protein items, which usually cost a little bit more than just the standard items. So you can already see that I have browned my sausage, and then I added my onions and garlic and my seasonings. I added my tomatoes, my broth, my water. I brought that to a boil, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add the pasta. And as the original recipe states, I'm just gonna let the pasta cook for about 8 to 10 minutes or so until it starts to get tender. And then I'm coming back in with a big handful of spinach, with about half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and with my entire block of my protein, you know, higher protein Greek cream cheese. I'm gonna stir that into the soup and just let it simmer over low heat for about 5 minutes or so until the spinach is softened and the cream cheese is melted and incorporated. Now, because I made the substitutions with some of the ingredients, the bone broth, the higher protein Greek style cream cheese, and also the higher protein pasta, I essentially doubled the amount of protein in this recipe, which is something that's really important to me. I'm just trying to up my protein intake. This was really delicious. It was very flavorful. I am very pleased with how this turned out. I would definitely make it again, exactly the way I made it here. Again, I'll leave the original recipe linked in the description box if you want to try it out. Maybe you don't need all of these adjustments that I made, but this made a very large serving. I just made up a little loaf of bread to go along with it to dip in it. And then I had 4 servings that I packed up into little containers. And these are really large soup containers. I wish that I had the smaller ones, but this is probably about 1.5 to 2 cups of soup in each container. So can highly recommend. I really enjoyed this, and I enjoyed having those other portions to eat later on throughout the week. And just reheat them and it's ready to go. I am gonna whip up some little snack boxes, kind of like some little homemade Lunchables that we could have, you know, in the afternoon or sometime if we're feeling like a little bit snacky. I bought the little cracker cut cheese, you know, the cheese that is already sliced into little squares. And I'm slicing it on the diagonal again so it makes little triangle shapes. You might be wondering why I'm doing that. It's because I bought these Triscuit Thins. We really like these crackers. So I just thought it would be helpful to have the cheese be, you know, kind of the same shape as the cracker. You don't have to do that. But I've got about 8 or 9 of those little Triscuit crackers, and then I have 3 cheese slices that I cut in half. So 6 little cheese triangles. And then I'm gonna add about an ounce or so of the cracked black pepper turkey. This is the Genio brand. I just got this from the deli, but you know, you could use a different kind of lunch meat or something if you want that. I gotta have a little fruit or veggie action just to kind of rev up the nutrition. So I'm just putting some little mini cucumbers that I diced up into one of the compartments. And I like to have a little sweet treat. And I saw these little mini sweet rice cakes. They're called Drizzlicious, and I actually saw them for the first time in Target weeks ago. I got the very small bag, just like the individual serving bag, but they make them in big bags too. I've seen the bigger bags that would have multiple servings. I'm just gonna put half a serving, which is about 10 or 11 of the little mini rice cakes, into one of those compartments in my snack containers. And then I really wanted something chocolatey, so I saw this little package of the skinny dipped almonds. This is the peanut butter chocolate flavor, and I'm just going to divide those evenly among my containers And there you have it. These come out to under 350 calories and around 20 grams of protein or so. It depends on how much turkey you put in each one. And I like being able to just grab a protein bar or a protein shake, but sometimes I want something I can nibble on across a longer period of time. So I think these will really hit the spot. I have a Ninja Creamy, and I'm going to prep some chocolate peanut butter Ninja Creamy protein ice cream to pop in the freezer so that we can have that this week as like an after dinner treat if we want it. I am using a Fairlife 30-gram chocolate protein shake as the base. You could use a different protein shake like a Premier Protein or whatever your ready to drink protein shake is of choice. Plus I'm gonna add half a cup of regular milk. And this is the Fairlife, the 50% more protein, but you could use a different kind of milk. I find that adding some sugar-free Jell-O mix really helps with the texture once it spins after it's frozen. So I'm gonna add a tablespoon of the chocolate fudge probably today, and then 2 tablespoons of this PB2. Now you can just stir all of that together in your little Ninja Creamy cup and then put it in the freezer. I like to put the ingredients in my little blender cup and blend it all up together. I think it just incorporates the ingredients a little better, and then pour it into the creamy cup and pop them into the freezer. Now I have the large Ninja Creamy with the 24-ounce cups, but I'm pretty sure that this would work with the 16-ounce cups because it's right around 16 ounces of liquid that I'm putting in it. Once these are frozen, the factory recommendation from Ninja is usually 24 hours, but sometimes if I get it in the freezer in the morning, it's ready by nighttime. But once they're frozen, I'm gonna pop them into my Ninja Creamy and spin it, and then I'm going to mix in a tablespoon or so of mini peanut butter M&Ms. Thank you again to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. If you want another lunch prep / meal prep type video, you can check out this one that I made last year, or YouTube thinks you might want to watch this one. Until the next video, I'll see you then.